Before we start, I think, I think it's good to move a little bit. And what I'm doing at the moment, I always have changing practices, of course, that I do for a while before I teach them to anyone else, so I know what I'm teaching. And what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is working with the big 6 areas of lymph. And so stimulating the lymph in those particular areas in the body to move them through, and is quite a nice way. I started to get a little bit of aches and pains when I wake up. It's what happens, I suppose, at times in our lives. And working with the lymph this way has really helped me to move that, because it felt like parts of my body got a little bit stuck, and then the fluids don't really move through. So I'd love to teach you that. It's really only a couple of minutes, and everything kind of feels like it's flowing and it's moving, and you just come a little bit in a different state. And there's the shaking is part of it. So how wonderful is that? Only short, but still. So let's stand up and start with that. It's better to do standing. Some of these things can be done seated, but standing just works a little bit better. Now and then I'll just move in to let someone in the waiting room, because I can't seem to turn it off. So the first lymph area of the body, and I'll get closer so you can see what I'm doing, is the collarbones. So you do this standing, and if you place your hand with a few fingers above the bone and a few fingers underneath it, so you have both areas above the collarbone and below, and you start a little on the left side, you can just gently, very gently move. So what we want to do is move the skin over the bone. So it's not a massage, it's not as hard. Actually, lymph is right underneath the skin. So it's a real gentle movement of skin. So we do that you can move, if you do this for yourself, you can move about like 8 times or something. So you can count up and down is 1, 2, moving from side to side, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can tap it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you do the other side. So a few fingers above the bone, a few fingers underneath the bone, and gently moving the area. And it's real gentle. It's a bit of a hype on Instagram at the moment, but I understand it, because it does work. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the second part is just here, a bit underneath, in the neck, underneath the ears, and you do both sides at the same time. So you just move it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again, gently tap it. Okay, and then the third one is if you open your arm and the palm goes out, and then you can place your hand under your armpit and you gently move that skin. So it's again about 8 times. And you can really open your arms, a little external rotation that's happening in that arm. So we're just moving the lymph for the people that just come in. And you've missed a few areas, but don't worry, you can look at it later. Pick it up there. And then we tap that too. Good. And then you do the other side. So now the other armpit. So it's like a little massage, but not so strong. It's gentle. It's like literally moving the skin, sliding the skin over the area that's underneath. Great, Pixie. Now I can see you. Yeah. Okay, and then as well, tap it. So we've done collarbones, neck, armpits. Now we do the belly. You can place one hand on your lower belly, one hand on your upper belly, and you just somehow move. Again, not too strong, just moving the skin over the area below. Keep moving it. And then we can clap around it, stimulating. And then the groins. So it's just, no, you know where your groin are. Just gently move, move over it. And it's an important area where the lymph flows, so don't skip it. And just move that skin over the area underneath it. And then you can clap that too. And then it's the back of the knees, literally. So you literally just bend your knees and you place your hands behind the knees and you just massage the back of the knees. And I think this is important. We need a clear mind when we work with the mind. So that's why we do this. This helps to clear the mind a bit. Okay, and then clap behind the knees. Wonderful. And then, so those are the 6 areas: collarbones, neck, armpits, belly, groin, knees, 6 areas. And then you hop. So we're now lifting the heels and letting the heels come down. So we're now getting, why we're doing this with regards to the lymph is that the calf muscle is a very important muscle to bring everything up in the body. Yeah. So we're activating the calf muscle to get the fluids to move up. So an important, they call the calf muscle sometimes the second heart because it pumps the blood up. So it's important. So it's maybe a different reason to sort of shake, but of course all the other benefits of shaking stay. So you might as well go for it. Take a few deep breaths. And so the second heart is going, and at the same time, we're releasing tension, deep breath in, a bit of a sigh out. Ah, that's it. And a deep breath in and a sigh out. So if you're doing this for yourself in the morning, you don't have much time, you only have to do this bouncing also for about 10, 20 times. But you will just continue for a little bit longer. But you don't have to do it so long if it's part of the sort of moving the lymph sequence. Another deep breath with me. And a big exhale out. That's it. Get those arms up for a moment. Get the shake as well in the belly, in the internal organs. Relax your face, your jaw, your eyes. Really shake out your hands. Move a little over to the right into a gentle twist. Move a little over to the left into a gentle twist as you shake. Few real jumps. Also getting that calf muscle, the second heart, to really go now. And then come to stillness. And as you're in stillness, sort of feel your aliveness in the body. And then take a moment to connect to the floor. I'm just going to come closer so you can properly hear me. Connect to the floor. If you want to sit down, that's fine. If you want to stay up there for a moment longer, that's fine too. So connecting to the floor underneath you. Feel the settling. Imagine one of these snow globes from when we were younger, those toys that you shake. And there's some sort of a situation in the globe, and then you shake in the snow, and then it all settles. Imagine that. So all that snow that is up there moving around, is our whole system being shaken up, and now it has a chance to settle in a different way, in a way that's more coherent, more at ease, more grounded, or I would say, actually, since today's topic, I'm gonna leave out the word more, and I'm just gonna say grounded, at ease, and coherent. So feel your system settling, grounded, at ease, and coherent. And to help this, you can inhale, take your arms out and up, bring them over the head, palms down, and gently, as you're bringing all this energy that we've just shaken up, bring it down with the palms of your hands, along the front of the body, but really it's going down through the inside, through the crown of the head, all the way through the inner body. You bring this energy down to your lower belly, just below the navel, or just above the pubic bone, inwardly in the body, and that's where it settles. So your hands are now hovering with the palms moving in towards your belly, just in front of your belly. And you're calling, if you like, your energy to come down out of the head, any chaos that's still left, any worries. Call with the palms of your hands, call this energy all down to settle in your lower belly. Deep breath in. Top that breath up with another little in-breath. And a slow out-breath through the mouth. Possibly as if you're breathing out through a straw. Inhale again. Top it up with another inhalation. Through a straw, breathing out, imaginary straw. One more. In, topping it up. Out through an imaginary straw. And releasing your hands. You can have your eyes open or closed and just take a moment to feel. And just enjoy your feeling. Relaxing the jaw. If you feel you might hold tension in your jaw, in your mouth, just move the lower jaw a little from right to left. And then let it go. Teeth apart. Okay. So, welcome everyone. So this took about 15 minutes. If you do it for yourself, you can go, of course, much quicker. And it can be done in 5 minutes or so. Try it out, see what it does for you. It's working well for me and my husband. So, right, so today's session, which is about harnessing the power of your mind, we'll explore how to transform negative beliefs that we have and that we hold about ourselves, usually, and about life sometimes, into positive ones. And also, we will talk about the art of self-communication, how we talk about ourselves, about life, about our beliefs, how we phrase words in our mind, and how we can better do that to help us grow. So again, our goal with this session is to have we can't in one session reshape everything and solve everything and fix everything, of course, but what I want you to walk away with is the knowledge how you can do that yourself, how you can work with this from now on. Yeah, and I'm sure I'll touch on it again, I always do. But so, even if you go away with one belief that you worked on and it's clear how to work with that, you can, of course, apply that to other parts in your system. So, and that will have a lasting change. One session, of course, is always just one session. So what I'd like to start with, though, is to talk a little bit about stress, because stress impacts our belief systems, and understanding how to manage stress or understanding the stress response helps you also to overcome the stress response. And then, of course, the belief systems will be easier to work with. And eventually, I think, because, I always ask myself, why am I teaching this? What do I want you to get out of this? Eventually, all of this, of course, moves towards you being able to be more present in your life, in yourself, in your body. And that's the highest goal of living, is to be present. It doesn't matter so much what you do. It matters a lot less than you think. What matters is that you are present doing it. And when you are present doing it, then you will almost automatically, most of us will do the right thing. We'll do what is right for us, what is right for other people, what is right for this world. Yeah. And again, that might be something completely different than we think. So presence is a guide. And it will, if we're just present, then life leads us to those places. So all of this is to help us be able to be more here. Okay, so let's talk about stress for a moment. So if you imagine holding a glass of water, then that's fine. If you hold a glass of water, for example, this is actually quite a heavy glass. If you hold it for a couple of seconds to have a sip, or you hold it for a while because I can't put it down somewhere, it's not a problem. If I'm gonna have to hold it for 10 minutes, not so fun anymore. And it might become a bit uncomfortable. And if I hold it for 30 minutes, I'm pretty sure I'm about to shout and in pain. Yeah, then the whole system isn't working anymore. Stress works similarly. A little stress is great, can be motivating, can be helpful. It's helpful to have a glass of water. It's helpful to be able to lift it and bring it to my mouth, drink from it. It keeps us alert, but persistent stress becomes harmful. It leads to various, obviously, physical and mental problems and complaints. So when we face danger, what happens is our reptile brain, that's subconscious, because today is a lot about the subconscious. So the subconscious part, the reptile brain, takes control. And this is when we face danger, but the danger doesn't have to be real. So when we perceive danger, yeah, when we face it or perceive it. And for a lot of us, in a lot of the times at this stage, it's more about perceiving than facing, okay? So, and it takes control, and that triggers the release of a whole bunch of stress hormones. The main ones are adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, yeah? And these hormones prepare us to fight, to flight, to freeze. I talked about this a lot in the past already for all of you. And this is how we prioritize our survival. So under normal circumstances, this stress response should subside the moment the threat has passed. Yeah. So once the threat is gone, the attacker is gone, the adrenaline within like 2 minutes is half, and within another couple of minutes, it's half of that, and in no time it's gone. And we can go back to feeling safe again. And our system, all the hormones leave and our system is back at rest. However, when stress becomes chronic, the system remains activated. Yeah, so these hormones adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, they stay in our system. And this causes the body to need a lot of energy, because what basically that does is we're constantly alert. Even if we go in a fight flight or in a freeze, in a freeze, that too takes a lot of energy to stay gone. Yeah. So it needs all this energy for these ways of staying alert and being aware that there is fear and there's danger. So what it does, the body has to take energy from a few areas to maintain this state of readiness to flight. Yeah. So there's four key areas the body is taking this energy from. And these are important areas because this is where our problems lie, our physical and mental problems. And this is also where most of our beliefs are linked to, and our patterns, our habitual patterns are. So the first area is our thinking mind. When we are in a fight, flight, or freeze, we need our arms, we need our legs, our body needs energy, not the thinking mind so much. We need to be able to run, we need to be able to fight. So it takes energy from that, and that results in brain fog. Yeah, it results in forgetfulness, difficulty focusing, because energy is just drawn away from all these cognitive functions. Okay. Second area is sleep, our sleep center. Of course, when the body is in a survival state, it is not worried about sleep, because sleep is actually making us very vulnerable. So this response, this chronic stress response, disrupts the body's ability to rest, resulting in insomnia, restless sleep, waking up unrefreshed. And sometimes you sleep, but you don't actually sleep relaxed, because during sleep, part of our mind, the subconscious mind, is still scanning around us the whole night, waking up absolutely exhausted, yeah, which is also a sign of this. So it doesn't mean you don't sleep, but it just affects our sleep center. And then there is, as the third one, so we've got the thinking mind, the sleep disruption, then we've got the digestion, the digestive system. When you're in a fight, flight, or freeze, the body is not so worried about digesting at that point. So it takes energy from our digestive system. You can imagine what that leads to. Symptoms like IBS, food intolerances, skin conditions, just all these problems that have to do with digestion. So our subconscious mind, our stress response is involved in all of that. Don't think it's, it might be very physical, but that's underneath it. And then there's, of course, the last one is our immune system. So with our energy focused on survival, the immune system weakens, increasing susceptibility to illness and slower recovery times. So there's all that going on, and it's huge, and it gives a lot of information on what's happening inside of us. So in this state, also what the body does, what does it do with all that energy? It keeps it concentrated in the arms and the legs and the joints, ready for fight or flight. Okay, and over time, what does that lead to? This constant readiness in the body, this constant sort of, they have this saying that the body is constantly on. It leads to aches and pains in the body, like joints and all sorts of problems mechanically in the body. Yeah. So the role of this leads to tension and various health issues all around. So the subconscious mind is what controls the stress response. And if it perceives danger, often inaccurately, it keeps the stress response active. Even when you consciously feel safe, the subconscious mind hasn't kind of gotten that yet. It hasn't had the message yet that you're actually safe. Consciously, you may think it, but deep down, something inside of you is still thinking there's a tiger out to get you. Okay. And this chronic stress perpetuates negative beliefs and patterns. You can imagine if your digestive system isn't very good and there's always trouble, and this is one of the systems that I've personally really noticed a lot of effect from chronic stress, is you start to believe certain things about yourself. You start to believe that you can't eat whatever, gluten, or that something isn't good for you, or that food isn't good for you, or there's all sorts of things that start to happen in your subconscious mind around the problems that you feel physically. And that's with the immune system the case, it's with your sleep the case, like I have trouble sleeping, I can't sleep, my system, I have a problem, all these things that then start to live their own lives and make it even worse. So that's why these 4 kind of parts are important, because it's kind of nice to know what are the 4 main parts that this happens in. So it's kind of nice to, what I would like you to do in a moment is to identify a limiting belief, because it's nice to kind of reflect on an area of your life where you experience stress, frustration, or dissatisfaction, because it's very easy to find your beliefs and your patterns, because you may think, how do I find them? Well, wherever in your life you're not going exactly as the way you'd like to go, this is where there's an underlying belief that you can work with. So does that make sense to you all? Just checking in. Yeah. Are there any questions at this point? You can put your hand up if you wish. Okay. All right, then I'll continue. So there is one thing I want to say about just beliefs, as sort of, beliefs are deeply held convictions or assumptions that you have about yourself. Okay, let me just get one more person in here. There we go. And the world, and they are formed early in life usually. They can, of course, form later in life, but usually they come from your childhood. And they're based on your experience. And usually a belief is also about how you perceive an experience. Yeah. So an experience doesn't have to be so bad, but it's about how you perceive the experience that makes it a difficult one, or that creates a certain belief that might not be so positive for you. So patterns are the repetitive behaviors, thoughts, and emotional responses that follow on from the belief. So this is what happens over time. So it starts with a belief, and a pattern sort of follows out of that. And they are often unconscious and habitual, and they guide how you react in different situations. All right, so there's a lot to say about all of that. And so when we keep reinforcing beliefs, we keep reinforcing patterns, and the patterns, of course, reinforce the beliefs. That makes sense. So it's one keeps the other one going, and they feed on each other. And that's how we stay stuck in ways of thinking and ways of talking to ourselves that keep us stuck in certain ways of being that aren't good for us. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is consider like some areas of your life or your work or your relationships, or maybe it's your health or finances or personal growth, it doesn't really matter. And ask yourself where you consistently or a lot of the times feel stress, anxiety, or sense of stuckness. And that's what we'll work with. So it's nice if you have pen and paper so you can write something down, but I'll talk you through it a little bit if you wish, with your eyes closed. But then as soon as you feel you've got something that you want to write down, you just, briefly open your eyes and you write down what you need to write down. So does anybody need to get pen and paper to, yeah, I'll see some people walking away, so I'll wait a moment. Okay. All right. So again, feel free that as I talk you through this, and it's going to be short, to just open your eyes and write down whatever comes to you. And we don't have to figure out every belief, even if you can work with one belief, that'd be great. Okay, so we can have the idea of this work. So you can just take a moment to look around you to help you see that where you are is safe. And take your unconscious with you. Remember what I was saying, it's the conscious is not enough. So sort of be really present deep inside your body. And even maybe say to yourself, can you see that right now? The space we're in is safe. But right now, nothing is threatening us. Not really. Not for our survival. Okay? If it would, you wouldn't be here. It's that simple. Okay. And then if it feels okay, you can close your eyes. You might just feel your body for a moment. Take a deep breath in with me. And exhale. And then let yourself just sort of glance over your life, over particular areas of your life, like your work, or perhaps it's relationship, and you glance over your life with the question, where do I feel stress? In what area do I feel a stress response? In the body, a feeling of stuckness or a sort of anxious feeling, or perhaps it's anger. Anything that doesn't feel at ease and relaxed. Where in your life do you feel that? And once you have identified one of these areas, or more areas, perhaps it's your work that you feel certain stress in, or it's a relationship, or relationships, generally people, connection. You ask yourself, what do I believe about this situation that is causing me stress? Or perhaps you ask, what assumptions am I making about myself or others in this situation? And see what comes up. See what comes up. What am I believing here? About myself, about situation. And write it down if something comes to you. For example, if you feel stressed about work, you might discover a belief like, I have to be perfect to succeed, or I'm not good enough for this job, or there are people who are better, or I should be doing something else, or whatever it is. These are examples of limiting beliefs that could be driving your stress. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes I'm going to give you a few minutes. So I'll be quiet for about 3 minutes or more, and you just see what beliefs, different beliefs come up for you in different areas. Just taking your time. To look at a few different areas in your life where you experience some sort of stress, anxiety, or stuckness. And asking yourself, what am I believing here? What am I believing? These beliefs can also, of course, bring with them an emotion, and that's okay. It's great when that comes up because it means we're not pushing it down and it influences the whole time and it's out there. We can be with it. It can also become lighter and we can become bigger, and it's not there from the inside influencing absolutely everything. Okay. So I'd love to, if anybody wants to share in the chat, if you're okay with that, one of the limiting beliefs. And if not, don't feel you have to at all, but it can be helpful to have a few examples, and you'll find, I mean, everything I just said at limiting beliefs, I have some form of that, like we all have them. I mean, maybe you don't actually, that would be wonderful, but I certainly have them and I work with them, and that's so okay. And that's so okay. So it would be nice to have an example. And otherwise we'll just continue with the examples I said, which is also okay. Family relationships. Thank you, Vicky. And what is the belief, if you want to share? Don't do it if it's too personal or if you feel exposed. You might just keep it with that. But yeah. Too much energy spent on being a people pleaser. Yeah. I should be doing a better job. Thank you, Vicky, for sharing that. Yeah. And Michi, too much energy spent on being a people pleaser is like a pattern. Yeah, that's it's more like a pattern, which is great that you see a pattern. And what would be the belief? And you can maybe for yourself as well to make it more specific. Like, what happens if you don't do it? Why do you need to please people? You know, what happens if you don't please people? Just go a little deeper and see if you can find the underlying belief that started that pattern. So this is for all of you. That's why it's nice to share. If you've got something like a pattern, great. We work with the patterns but then go under and say, okay, what's driving this pattern? What makes me having to please people? I'm a people pleaser. Probably makes me a really good teacher, but not always handy for me. Yeah. So not enough self-belief that I feel I'm incapable to solve problems. Yeah, exactly. Incapable to solve problems. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, so we've got some beautiful is maybe not the right word, but we've got some beliefs here that make a lot of sense that we can probably all recognize parts of ourselves in. And do you not also feel sadness a little bit? At least that's what I always feel. It's like when I read that and I think, if you look at these beautiful people here and what they believe about themselves, and we all do this. I believe this, these things. So, but look at each other. Look at why. Why are we believing these things? Like what? How? It's just there's something, really heartbreaking in that, isn't there? Like I feel that. Janice, trusting myself to make decisions. Yeah. So. Yeah, so these things. So what I'd like you to do next is to kind of look at what you personally wrote down and transform this into what would you like to believe about yourself? Because the thing is, if we can only change something if we know where we want to go. Yeah. So this belief underpins certain patterns in our life that aren't good for us. So I'm not saying, so you come up with how you would like to believe. It doesn't have to be that you feel that now. You don't have to believe it yet, but what would you like if it was you, if it was someone else having that belief and you would want to wish and want the best for them? What would you want them to believe differently? That's what I need you to write down. So the opposite. Yeah. Because you can ask yourself, is it true? Is it true that I can't trust myself to make decisions? Can you know absolutely sure that you can't? And if you ask you could say God or something that you believe in, a higher power, like, is it really true what I believe? And how would it be if it wasn't true? And what belief would actually help me? So, thank you, Jenny, for sharing that as well. Yeah. So, for example, I'm not good enough can be changed in I'm capable and I'm continuously improving. And so you can also have a progression in there. If it feels really hard to do the opposite, bring in a progression. I'm just giving you a few minutes just to work with some of the beliefs you have there, to turn them around into, if it was your loved one with that belief, and what belief would you want for them? And give this to yourself. Because the problem is this belief keeps reinforcing itself. And everything you see in life reinforces that belief because you look through the lens of that belief. So if you have a belief like people don't like me, you will only see examples of people not liking you. And you will glance over the examples of people loving you and thinking you're absolutely amazing. You just won't see them. That's the problem with a belief like that. You just see that what reinforces that belief. So change it. And the first step in changing it is knowing where you want to go. So beliefs shape patterns, and patterns strengthen those beliefs. And that loop can solidify itself in a self-perpetuating cycle. And that makes it difficult to either change the belief or the pattern without conscious effort. And now we're putting that conscious effort in. Is to actually just go, okay, hang on a moment. I want something different here. Okay. How did that go? Does that give any idea? For some of you, this will be something you've done before or heard about, but I've done it many times and still need to do it at times when I kind of fall down a pattern or an old track. What did this bring you anything? Did this teach you anything? You can just put in the chat if you have something to share. Okay, thank you, Vicky. I think you got something out of it. Yeah, and then there is, oh, that's great, Michi. So I found it surprisingly easy to switch around to the positive beliefs. There you go. Sometimes it's also just habit. And then doing something like, it's like, that's possible too. The helpful belief seems closer to reality. Yay. And it is so much more true. We are so hard for ourselves, and we have such ridiculous beliefs coming from the subconscious, even from the conscious, but it's true. It is a lot more likely to be true. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Jeff. Okay, so then there's the self-talk. Yeah, there is things like, for example, one thing in my life is energy. So if my stress response is on and when it's chronic, and especially, and even though this isn't so much an issue anymore these days, the reason I'm diving into this is that my physical system hasn't caught up yet. So I'm still, for example, very tired from years of carrying certain stress responses. And even though I'm believing different things maybe now, or even though I'm not feeling that so much anymore, my belief system hasn't always been updated. So I still feel very tired in my body. So for example, I hear myself say, oh, I'm really tired. Or if something is, I have a few things to do in the weekend, I can be like, oh, I'm not sure if I can handle that one because I'm already tired. These kinds of things that you say to yourself. In my case, it's a lot about tiredness. It could be about your digestive system. It could be about your sleep. It could be about your relationships. It could be about anything. Yeah. And I am tired is kind of passive. Like I can't do anything about it. I am tired. And a way of working with this, of shifting it, would be to say, I am doing tiredness. I don't know if that makes sense. It may not be correct English. I'm not looking for correct English either. But a change of a feeling of what you're saying. Can you feel the difference between I am tired and I'm doing tired? Can you feel it? And maybe shift it to something that you are feeling, like one of your things that you say to yourself from those patterns or those beliefs that are there. It could also be I'm aware that part of me is doing tiredness. That's even more, you step back. So it's not just tiredness anymore. I am tired means there is nothing but tiredness. I am doing tiredness means there's part of me that's doing something that can also stop doing it. Does that make sense? So it becomes an active thing. I'm not just tired, but there's an active, I am doing actively that. I have too much to do. I'm doing too much. I love that one. Yes. So in your case, the doing, then doing it with the doing is a little difficult, but it's, yeah, it's like part of me believes that I'm doing too much. So it's, I'm doing too much. I'm believing doing too much. Do you feel it? That difference? So you're looking for, to make it, yeah, how will I say it? It's about shifting, taking ownership of your thoughts and emotions through empowering words. So these shifts help you feel more in control and optimistic. So it's not the way it is, it's something you do. Does that make sense? And it's not you who does it consciously, it's your subconscious from that stress response that does this. But that's what we want to get a handle on. And that's why I feel it's me, because the subconscious is obviously something we're not aware of. But it makes us, it's completely in charge of how we feel. And we have so much control over the subconscious. That's the beautiful thing about it. We have a lot of influence on our subconscious mind once we're aware of it. So I am feeling tired. I'm finding ways to manage it, or I'm stressed. I'm experiencing, part of me is experiencing stress. I would probably say, I'd rather say I'm doing stressful. I'm doing feeling stressed. Yeah, because then again, I am doing it. I am doing it. There's not some force in my life that suddenly makes me feel completely stressed. It's just not like that. There is part in my subconscious that is doing this. And we want to talk to that part and get it aware that we have a choice. So when communicating with your subconscious mind, it's essential to be mindful how you frame your thoughts and affirmations and attentions. And there are some rules to keep in mind. And one of them is positive language. Okay. So instead of saying, I don't want to be tired, the subconscious mind does not well with words like don't, not, can't. It just doesn't really hear that. So they are usually ignored. So for instance, I'm not afraid. The subconscious might interpret it as I'm afraid. Yeah, so that's 99% of you, just to keep it simple, that interprets it that way. So you need to frame positive. So I'm tired, I have energy. I have energy, and not more. The subconscious mind doesn't do very well with words like more than what? Like from more than nothing, still nothing, So I have energy, like a waterfall, for example. So you really see it, and you really make something out of it. It's clear, it's concise. So you have to be specific and direct. So I want to be healthier, not very specific. I enjoy eating nourishing foods and moving my body daily. That's specific. Yeah, that's what your subconscious understands. So make it very clear, actionable. It can be similar to sankalpa, yes. Like an intention, there's a question from Vicky. Your sankalpa, it's helpful if your sankalpa is like this, as clear, because sankalpa also talks to the subconscious mind. Basically, it gives the subconscious mind what a sankalpa is. You could say it tells the universe what you want, yes. But to make that happen, you have to tell your subconscious mind what it wants. It's one brain side communicating to the other. One brain side that is about making it happen. The other brain side is about seeing what it wants. And only when you see what you want, you can, that part of the brain communicates to the other part and say, okay, now make it happen. And that's how it happens. Yeah, it's no magic. There's no magic. That's how it happens. And this is when these sorts of statements need to be clear. Otherwise, that part of the brain that needs to make it happen has no idea what it wants, what you need. I want to be healthier. Yeah. What does that mean? Okay, healthier than what? What do you want to be healthy about? So be very concrete. And avoid abstract terms like more, better, less. You know, I'm filled with energy instead of I want more energy, or just things like that. Present tense statement with your sankalpa is as well. Vicky, I don't know if you remember. It's like you use the present tense as if it's happening now, because the subconscious mind listens to that in the present tense, as if it's already happening. And this helps align your subconscious actions with the conscious goals. Okay. So I am successful rather than something like I will be successful. It's a shift, but this is what the subconscious mind understands. And it's the subconscious mind, 99% of you, that makes something happen. And then there is emotionally charged language helps. The subconscious mind does really well with statements that are emotionally charged. So you use words that evoke strong positive feelings. Like, I mean, it's a little, you see it a lot. Like I'm not a big fan of these big words like thrilled or super excited, but for your subconscious mind, it actually works. So I am thrilled with my progress. I'm stupid, but I feel deeply peaceful. These kind of words work for your subconscious mind because you feel deeply peaceful. That's closer to my heart, for example. But it evokes something. And that's when your system starts working for you, when it evokes an emotional resonance in the body. Okay. And visualization helps, like combining your words with mental imagery, like energy. I feel energy like a waterfall. Like, for example, I once stood under a huge waterfall, and that's why the waterfall worked so well for me, because it was just like the most energizing thing ever. Having all that ice cold water fall on top of you is just, so for me that works. And that, yeah, and that works really well for your subconscious mind as well. So I feel the warmth of the sun. That can be energy, or it can be related to something, or can be an emotional and sensory experience. And you need repetition and consistency. So these are the main things. And then, of course, be gentle and compassionate. It goes for everything. And you need to be sort of aligned with everything. Your words and your actions need to be, and what you see needs to be all congruent. Yeah, so it needs to be all aligned with each other. It has to make sense. So, yeah, maybe you can take a moment to, well, I think we've got some here. So I have friends that work with this actively, and I never hear them saying anymore anything like, I'm tired. They always say, I'm doing tiredness. So it's funny because I don't know if they speak like that to everyone. I know they speak to me like that because they know I understand. So I'm not looking at them going like, are you a little, that's not, your language isn't quite proper or whatever. But what I understand from them, they started doing that after they worked with chronic illness. And they let people know. But what you can do first is talk to yourself like that, is change your self-talk. And then you can always bring it in the outside world where you take charge. I am doing fear. Yeah. I am doing resistance. I am doing, whatever it is. And then, because you're opening up a space when you say that, you're opening up a space in which where there's room for something else. Oh, I'm doing this, so that means I can be doing something else. You know what I mean? Rather than I'm tired and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, I'm moving on from that because I have a meditation in which I bring a lot of this together. And I worked a whole day on it to kind of bring the process into the meditation. So I'm really excited to try it out on you all. You can give me feedback. So it's a meditation in which you get a chance to work with one of your stress areas and maybe your belief, one of the beliefs that you came with. And then in that meditation, we just work through it, and we're opening up a space for you to believe something different and to become sort of a newer version or different version of you with regards to letting that go. So there's a new life waiting, if you like. Does that make sense? And let's try it. Are you all ready to try? So do you need to stretch out for a moment? You can stretch out your arms. You can maybe stretch out your legs and yawn for a moment. Just moving around a little bit so that you can sit for another 15, 20 minutes with me. So there's a lot in one session, but we can work with it more in different sessions, but it's a nice start. Okay. And then get yourself into a comfortable posture. Sitting on a chair, cushion, maybe sitting against a wall. You can, of course, choose to lie down. Might be harder to remain aware. Good. So notice for yourself how you feel. So you might just kind of just gently scan around the room. For me, I really almost always do it because I know that even though consciously I know very well I'm safe, there might be a part of me that is stuck somewhere. And I'm inviting all parts of me to see that we're in a space where at the moment we're safe, so that it's easier for me to go inside, and for you it will be easier. And to make changes where appropriate and where ready. Okay. So then when you feel ready, you can close your eyes or take your gaze down and soften your eyes. Let's take a few deeper breaths. Deeply breathing in. Gently exhaling. Allowing yourself to settle into the present moment. And as you're breathing in, feeling the air filling your lungs. And as you're breathing out, letting go of any tension or distractions. Noticing the support that you're sitting on, whether it's floor, cushion, chair, anything else. And allowing yourself to be supported by that. Notice the solidity of whatever is holding you, or softness maybe, and how it helps to keep the body stable, perhaps upright or really supported when you're lying. And now you can begin by bringing to mind a belief that you know you carry about yourself. Something that has held you back or caused you stress. I'm not good enough. I always have something to do. Too much to do. I'm not trusting myself. It's scary to say what I need. I don't believe in myself, or I should be doing better. I need to please everyone. Beliefs like that. And now I'd like you to, when you picked one belief, and you can't pick the wrong belief, just one belief is always the perfect one. The one, just pick one. And notice how this belief feels in your body. Where do you feel this in your body? Where do you feel maybe the tension of it, the discomfort or the unease? Where does it live in your body, this belief? Do you feel it in your digestive system? Do you feel it somewhere else, in your heart or in your shoulder or knee? Taking a moment to fully acknowledge these sensations without judgment. You're simply observing what is happening inside your body, within you. You may place a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly as you really just notice the effect of this belief in your body. Because a belief like that isn't going to feel pleasant. There's going to be parts of your body that tighten up, or that are feeling compressed or choked or emotional maybe, or anything like that. And just know you are in this moment. Really kind of feel yourself in this moment. You are right here, right now, fully present with this belief and how it feels in your body, with the sensations in your body and the thoughts even perhaps associated with this belief. And now you might consider what would help you to lovingly say stop to this pattern, okay? And you might just now bring your hands together, palms, one palm over the other palm, making sort of a bowl, holding that in front of your body, in front of your belly. And you can sort of visualize or allow something to drop into your hands, maybe an object or a symbol or even a word that feels just right for this moment and suited to help you address this belief, to help you change it, to help you lovingly say stop to it. Okay? It can be, and it doesn't have to make sense, whatever drops into your hands. I've had things drop into my hands that are completely interesting, but they give me a little signal. There's somehow my subconscious knows what that means, and it helps me say stop. So whatever's there right now, could be a color, could be anything. And if nothing comes, don't worry. Just continue with the rest. Just say stop, because nothingness might be exactly what needs to be there. Say stop and step back mentally, as if you're stepping a little behind yourself, creating a bit of space between you and this pattern, or creating space between you and this pattern, between you and this belief. So you step back. And you can, now let's kind of reset. So what we're going to do is the breath we did at the beginning. You breathe in, you top it up with another in-breath, and then you're exhaling suddenly like that. Okay, so let's do that again. Inhale, double inhale through the nose, another one. And now a slow extended exhale. So we're resetting ourselves. One more. Repeat this one more time. Inhale, another inhale. Slowly out through your mouth. And this breathing, this sort of reset helps you, helps you create space to choose a different response. Recognize now you have a choice. You can either continue with the old unhelpful belief and perhaps pattern, or you can choose to listen to a more supportive and empowering voice within. Okay? There are more supportive and empowering voices that we can listen to. So we're going to coach ourselves. So just imagine yourself now in the role of your inner coach. So you can imagine a spiritual figure, if you like, being the coach for you, or a teacher, or maybe a family member or a friend that you know would be that person for you. Just imagine someone there for you. And you can say, let this person, imagine this person standing to the side of you, saying, for example, well done. Now that you can do this, now that you can step back from this belief and change it, you can do anything. Now you can do this, you can do anything. You're brilliant. You're on track. And I'm fully there for you. I'm fully behind you. And now say something, let something come up from you that you need to hear through that figure that's helping you. So what else is he or she or it saying to you? What else are they saying to you? To help you make a different choice. To begin to listen to more supportive and empowering things. What do you need to hear? And this figure that's like a coach for you helps you to hear that, says it to you. So feel the warmth and the support of these words and letting them wash over you. And maybe you can even notice how your body language might change, or the way you feel, or you feel more grounded in your body. You can now place one hand on your heart again and one hand on your belly, and letting the words of this supportive figure sink deeply into your body. filling you with strength, with positivity. And then asking yourself, actually, just imagine this supportive figure asking you, what are you really longing for in this situation? What are you really longing for in this situation? And then feel the answer from within. And express it clearly. Remember this active language. Remember to speak in the present tense. And leave the words like can't or more or all those behind. Simply use the word. Visualize a metaphor like a waterfall or river or anything that comes to mind. What is it you're longing for? You might even express it with your arms or your body. It really helps to use your body now with what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're really longing for. Just express it. And, if it comes natural. And so this feeling of what you're choosing and this chosen metaphor, sort of let it move through you and allowing maybe sensations and emotions to come into your experience. And then this figure, this coach asks you, how are you going to do that? And now this is a new step. I want you to go back to a memory of the last time that you felt this way, of what you're longing for. And I want you to speak in the present tense. So you're reliving that moment as if it's happening right now. And you speak to yourself, and you might use your mouth. You won't speak out loud, maybe depending on where you are. If you can speak out loud, wonderful, you're all muted. But really say, okay, I'm Esther. I'm in Italy. I'm just going through a memory. I am standing with this tree and I feel blah blah. So do it that way. It's giving you a moment, really as if it's happening now in the present tense. And if you can't think of a moment, make it up. And see the lights then of the colors that surround you. Hear the sounds of that empowering moment and sense the emotions, the physical sensations in that moment. Making it as vivid and as real as possible by using your senses. This is how you're doing it. By remembering, by seeing, by feeling this new way. And as you fully experience this positive state, just imagine this figure that's there for you behind you. They are placing their hands on your shoulders. And feel this strength and support from this figure. And then let this figure merge with you, reinforcing sort of this new empowered state. So you become one. It's part of you. And then when you really got a sense of this new feeling, this new way of being, imagine yourself stepping forward into a new position of a new life, new way of being. letting yourself internalize this state of being. And then you can slowly allow yourself to come back or arrive again in your body, in this room. And from your heart with gentleness, feeling into your body, in all the different parts of your body. Sensing this new way of being, this new choice, this new possibility. And then you can take a few deep breaths. Coming back, opening your eyes when you're ready. Okay. How do you feel? Does anybody want to share something in the chat, how that was? Or if you want to unmute at this point, we're kind of coming to the end. I'm also happy for you to share something. So Lena, you say this is changing your perspective, not trying to convince yourself. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was very.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The question, it was from before the meditation.
Sorry. Okay.
So it was speaking to your subconsciousness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it was. It's not like trying to convince yourself that you're not tired.
No,
exactly. Take your example. Yeah.
Yes. No, that's not helpful. Yeah, because it doesn't really hear that. So this was powerful for you, huh? This worked, this meditation?
Yes.
Nice. It's a nice progression. So of course you get the recording so you can do it again. Yeah, I put a few things together that I just thought would work well for the subconscious. And anybody else? Oh, I'd love that, Joanna. Thank you. That's useful in your work. It will be. It's super nice because it just opens it up. I felt I arrived somewhere strong and clear towards the end, and it felt like a lot going on as you guided us through the progressions. Yes, there is a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Come on retreat, and we'll take time for it. But I will repeat it another time. It's a good progress. I think yeah, powerful. Thank you, Vicky. Okay, is there anybody with a question? I'll have one question and then we'll finish it. I've got 4 minutes left. So if anybody has a question, just put up your hand on mute.
I have a question.
Yes, Jeff.
Hey, everybody, Jeff here. Yeah, thanks for the meditation, Esther. So with the fight, flight, freeze type things, I've I've come to find the physical practices like restorative yoga can really calm the tension and the digestion and things. I think I've gotten to a point where sometimes I don't want to argue with myself or deal with it at the mind level because I found that doesn't work, and I just want to just kind of access it physically directly. So do you think that by just physically calming it, the mind will just naturally follow? Or do you think there's some way to integrate, something similar to what we did today with a more physical restorative practice? Maybe I could get more benefits by kind of working those two together.
I think so. I think absolutely, if you do your practice very regularly and you're getting to those places and all of you becomes more relaxed, that might be enough. But sometimes it's hard to tell if there are certain parts of us that are a little bit underneath and deeper lying actually relax with you. And they might miss the message a little bit. I'm not saying that's happening. It could be. And it's hard to say. So I'm a big believer in combining. You have to bring in the physical as well. The physical practice is incredibly important to bring the body with you. So great that you're doing that. And only working on the level of the mind isn't helpful. And this technique at least made you tune into the feelings of the body, which brings the physical with you a bit. But I would definitely combine it with then going into relaxing practice like restorative and saying, can you see it's okay now to really deeply relax, and with this new belief, or really go deep. And the one thing you want to be careful with the restorative is if it's the freeze really wants that. The freeze wants to just be left alone, not work, and just disappear a little bit and just kind of zone out a little bit. So you might keep that part intact with that. Does that make sense?
So it's not so good for freeze.
It's not so good for freeze if it's just that what you're doing. Freeze needs to be unfrozen.
Right.
Through movement, through activity, through shaking it up, and then relax. Yeah. But I'm not saying that freeze is the thing, but I'm just saying you need to, I would say switch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think that's in general something I'm, trying to learn is with all the different practices from more energetic to more restorative, how to know which one,
I know.
the way I'm feeling on a certain day. I don't know there's an easy answer, but I definitely appreciate that,
Yeah.
trying to find by experience how to sense what to pick on any given day.
Yeah. I'd say, really just start with checking in with how you feel. Just like sit still for a moment. Okay, what's going on in my body right now? What is it I'm feeling? And if it's feeling like, oh, I just want to disappear and be left alone, and I just want to go back to sleep, and then restorative is not the way to go. You have to gently guide yourself out of that. If you feel like then yeah, calming down, moving from that state of being very alert and aware and on, maybe do a sun salutation to address that and to get in touch with it, and then go into your restorative practice. So you meet yourself where you are and you take yourself out of that to another place. And if you meet a belief or a thought or a way of thinking in the meantime, you can do something like that, even in your restorative. I mean, you can do this little process as you're lying down in a restorative pose. So you can start to weave that in, but that's a little bit how I work with myself. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But it's a lifelong looking for, what do I need? Okay. It was really lovely to be with you today. I hope you got something out of it. And I'll be back September 28th. I'll let you know, of course. And we'll talk about practices that will help you be present. This was already sort of going there, isn't it? We do all of this so that we can be present. It's what we what we work towards. So, but you'll receive some more information. So I hope to see you there. Some of you I will see in the meantime on retreat, and others next month.